Okay, all right, we're good to go. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited about this one today too, Burnett. To be honest, I don't know. I set it up a little bit early. I did that as a favor to somebody I kind of been promising. I was like, I'll get it. I'll do it earlier. I'll do one of these. I'll do them earlier. So, this is definitely, it is March 27th, Monday, March 27th at 4:17 p.m. right now, Central Time. And today we're going to start the book of Joshua. We finished Proverbs a while ago. We finished Deuteronomy a long time before that. But today we're going to start Joshua. I'm really excited because even right in chapter 1, he just starts just... it's so good. It's just so good. The Bible's so good. It's so simple. So easy to understand. You just got to put yourself through it. That's it. You just got to put yourself through it. You got to force yourself to read it. So today's going to be the book of Joshua. Before we get started, the verse going across the bottom of the screen, and you see it scrolling across. And it's been scrolling across the bottom of that screen for over 3 years now. John 8:34, Jesus answered them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin. That's it. It's very simple. Those are Jesus' words. He said them. He meant them. It's always been the same thing. It's always been the same way. And there's a big reason why I'm emphasizing this in the beginning, because even in the Old Testament, going all the way back to Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, all these books, all of them, even in Joshua here, perfection was always attainable. It's always been attainable, and it's always and only been attainable through the same means, by the same means. Faith by grace. That's it. Faith by grace. If you still sin, you're not saved. If you still sin, you're not a believer. If you still sin in any way, shape, or form at all, then you are the servant of sin. Period. Jesus said so. Like, the verse ends in a period. It's done. And there's real answers. There really is. I linked the Bible study in the description. If you haven't done that, if you still sin, you're not ready for this. You're not ready to go through Joshua. If you still sin, Joshua is not for you. You're more than welcome to sit and read through it. That's fine. You're going to see exactly what I see. But at the end of the day, if you still sin, then you're still a servant of sin. So there's a Bible study There's a Bible study linked in the description called Never Sin Again. Go do that. Go do that. Find perfection. Then do the Bible studies. Then do the read-alongs for the Old Testament. Either way, if you still sin, you're not saved. And you're going to see that in Joshua, it was the same way. It's the same thing. It's always been the same thing. If you break God's law, then you're not of God. Very, very simple. Very, very easy. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. ETT, you're a fraud. Get the fuck out of here, man. This ain't for you. This ain't for you. You're a joke. If you break God's law, you don't keep it. Period. And there is a way to keep it perfectly forever. But you got to find it. It exists. It's real. Jesus really died to make us perfect. You'd never guess what that really means. But it's the truth. If you still sin, you're of the devil. So, Joshua. Oh, I'm so excited. I love it. We have... Oh, and for anybody that doesn't know, this will be in the playlist called Old Testament Read-Alongs. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will see on the front page... I'm actually going to pull it up for you guys. Because, this way everybody understands. There's no mincing words. There's no excuses. There's no way you can say, oh, but Perry, you didn't tell me that was there. But I did. So I'm going to show you. So right here, when you go to my page, here's the home page for the channel, right? This is it. You'll get there. You'll see it'll play the Matrix intro here where the book of Joshua is. But down here on the home page, New Testament read along. The entire New Testament is in there. The entirety. Minus Revelation. Revelation will be the last book I put on here. Old Testament. This is the Old Testament read along. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. Now it's going to go to that. I don't want to go to that. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Why is it okay. So, Old Testament.
All right.
Wow, what's
Is everybody ready to go?
Hang on.
I am ready to go.
We're gonna refresh this because it didn't go back. All right, there we go. So on the homepage, you'll see when you get there, there's New Testament read along, Old Testament read along, the prophets read along. This will be in Old Testament read along, right? But they're all here. We put the entire Bible up here so that, nobody can say that we run from anything or that we hide anything or that we twist anything. We don't. We read the entire Bible with you, and I want you to know that it's here. It is here. And if you've ever got questions and you can't reach me or you can't reach anybody and you want to know what our opinion was on it, or, if we read through it and we're like, hey, if you want somebody to read it with you, go there, click on whatever book you're in, whatever. And it's real cool too, because you can scroll through like where it's playing. You'll see we're reading along, and you can see how the blue line. If you look for the blue line, you can see like right there. It's Genesis 11 verse 14. So you can see where we're at. So if you've got a question, you can find your answer. Wolves in sheep's clothing. This is a fun playlist. This is all the frauds. ETT's in there a couple times. The guy that's in the comments talking shit right now. Yeah, don't be like ETG. These are good. These are all fun. Puts people right in their place because we rip the masks right off of the wolves. It's not hard to do once you know what you're doing. Fun facts, the real two witnesses. Paul didn't write Romans, like just little stupid things that everybody, wants the answers to, but they don't know how to find them. Some of them are in there, like who the two witnesses really are. That's in there too. And it's all scripture. Everything is scripture. We just read the Bible with you. That's it. Any questions that you have on the Bible, if you go to this little search bar here and you click search and you click there and you search for whatever topic that you're looking for, let's do 144,000. Search for it, and then all the videos regarding that topic would come up. Right? So 144,000 Bible study, the answer is scripture only. If you want to know who the 144,000 are, the answers are on here. There's actually a couple of videos on that, by the way. But it's all there. It's all there. And this is going to go into the Old Testament read along playlist, just like the playlist says, and then you guys can read along. It's really, really that simple. It is that easy. I don't see any other channel that does that. I have not seen none of the fake believers do that. What they'll do is they'll read a couple of verses and then they'll ramble on and argue with each other for an hour because nobody can agree on anything. We just read the Bible with you. So that's what it's all about. And we're going to read. I'm so excited. Oh, Brunette, I'm happy. I'm glad we're doing this. And getting it done earlier. So, and then this will be multi-part. So this will be the first one, probably of 2, maybe 3, depending on how long this takes today. But I'm excited, man. Ooh, I hope you guys had a good weekend. My family, we took the kids to the medieval times, and we had a really good weekend this weekend. We were going to do the trampoline park yesterday, but everybody's just exhausted. It was a busy weekend. But very excited to do this with you guys today. And that's about it. That's the channel in a nutshell. Yeah, it's just the Bible. Whoever sins is of the devil. Don't let him lie to you. Don't lie to yourself. Stop lying to yourselves. If you still sin, you're not saved. Stop lying to yourself. Stop playing pretend. Stop pretending like the things you do matter because you don't. Stop with the illusions and the imaginations and the bullshit that you caught yourself up in. If you still sin, you're still not saved. You either want to get saved or you want to spend the rest of your life serving sin. It's up to you in the end. You get to choose, but it's we're just, we're here to help. So Joshua chapter 1, verse 1. Now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people. Excuse me. And if you guys remember when we left off in Deuteronomy, it was right before the Israelites went into the land. God told Moses, "You're not going in. You're going to die now. You're going to die now." And then Moses died, and that's where we left off. So we're picking right back up where we left off. Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, and all the land of the Hittites, and go unto the great sea towards the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. So God's telling Joshua, as I was with Moses, same way I'm going to be with you. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of good courage. For unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong. Now this is where this starts getting really good. He says, only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. All the law. All of it. If you fail one part of it, if you break one part of it, you're done. That's the deal. That's the deal. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left. No good or evil. No good or bad. Walk that law. Perfect. Turn not from it to the right hand or the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. I'm going to do this verse again, because I love this verse. This is what it is. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth. That's it. That's for any real believer. It's the entire book. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. Where else do we see this at? Deuteronomy chapter 6, 6 through 9. Right here. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6 through 9. It's also in the New Testament. Deuteronomy chapter 6, 6 through 9. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. You see it in the New Testament. It's, I think it's 2 Timothy 3:16. It's the same thing. It's always been the same thing. Because if you know the Bible, if you actually line up with the Bible, then you're perfect. Then you'd be perfect. Even Abraham was perfect. Genesis chapter 17, verse 1. God told him, walk before me and be thou perfect. That is the command. You have to be perfect. If you're not perfect, then you're done. All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. Be perfect. That's what it's all about. This book of the law, Joshua chapter 1, verse 8, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. Why? Because if you break one, then all the curses of the book will be added to you. That's how it works. If you still sin, you're going to hell. If you still sin, you are blotted out of the book. Period. If you still sin, you don't line up with the book. God said so. Exodus 32, verse 33. I love it. Yes, I'm doing this. I'm just hammering it. That's what it is. That's why he says that thou mayest observe to do all that is written therein. Because anybody that sins is not of the book. Right here, 32, 33. Look at this. And the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. Done. So he told Joshua, as I was with Joshua, he told Joshua, as I was with Moses, so will I be with you. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, pass through the host and command the people, saying, prepare you victuals. It's food. Prepare you victuals, for within 3 days you shall pass over this Jordan to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God giveth you to possess it. And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the tribe of Manasseh spake Joshua, saying, remember the word which Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, saying, the Lord your God hath given you rest, and hath given you this land. There's the gospel right here. There it is. That's the gospel. Boom. Right in the Old Testament. The Lord your God hath given you rest. Be perfect. They didn't listen, obviously. Remember the word which Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, saying, the Lord your God hath given you rest, and hath given you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side of the Jordan. But you shall pass before your brethren, armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them. This was, we talked about this the last time in your life too. Reuben, Gad, Manasseh, they didn't want possession in actual Israel. They wanted what was on the outside, like what you would see as Jordan today. But it is what it is. But you shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, to help them, until the Lord have given your brethren rest, until the Lord have given your brethren rest, as he hath given you, and they also have possessed the land which the Lord your God hath given them. Then you shall return unto the land of your possession and enjoy it, which Moses the Lord's servant gave you on this side of the Jordan towards the sun rising. So this was Manasseh, Gad, and Reuben. When they went in, they had too much cattle. They're like, yo, your land's not going to be able to handle all of us. Why don't we just take this land over here? But we'll go fight for you. He's like, we'll fight for you and get you to where you need to be, and then we'll come home. And that was the agreement they made. And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us, we will do. And whithersoever thou sendest us, we will go. According as we hearkened unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God be with thee, as he was with Moses. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words, and all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage. That's it, right there. Boom. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words, in all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death. There it is. Only be strong and of good courage. Joshua chapter 2. And Joshua, the son of Nun, wait, it's getting all weird on me. Okay. And Joshua, the son of Nun, sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, There came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. She said, I don't know where they went. And it came to pass about the time of the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whether the men went, where the men went, I don't know, I wot not. Pursue after them quickly, for you shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them within the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords, and as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. So check this out, because Rahab is mentioned in Hebrews, right? The faith of Rahab. Put yourself in her shoes, right? You've got 2 dudes show up at your house. You know they're there. You know why they're there. You know that they intend on killing everybody. Everybody. And then the king comes to you and says, I know these dudes are at your house. And she, just perfect faith. Perfect faith was like, nope, yep, I'm hiding you. Not, she could have been put to death if the king of Jericho would have figured this out. If he would have found out that those dudes were there, she would have been put to death. Faith, man. Fucking faith. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water out of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. So she's saying right there, like, I know what you guys are doing. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore, I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have shown you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that you will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. She put everything on the line to believe in their God. She knew. She's like, your God's going to destroy everything. I heard how he got you guys out of Egypt. She knew, and she put her life on the line to believe in God. Believing that these guys, she knew what they were there to do. It's amazing. And that you will save alive my father, and my mother, and my brethren, and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, our life for yours. If you utter not this business, this our business, and it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may you go your way. And the men said unto her, we will be blameless of this thine oath which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window which thou didst let us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. And if thou utter this our business, then we will be quit of thine oath which thou hast made us to swear. So he's like, you got to bring everybody to your house. If they go out in the streets, we're going to murk them, and it's on you. It's on them. It's on their own head. If they're in your house and if they get killed, then it's on us. And if you tell anybody what you know, then, we're just going to wipe you all out. And she said, according unto your words, so be it, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the 2 men returned and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. Pretty cool shit. Joshua chapter 3. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim, and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host, and they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests the priests the Levites bearing it, then you shall remove from your place and go after it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 200 cubits by measure. Come not near unto it, that you may know the way by which you must go, for you have not passed this way heretofore. Okay, so I'm going to redo this. And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host, and they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests the Levites bearing it, then you shall remove from your place and go after it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 200 cubits by measure. I'm just curious how many feet that is. Hang on. 200 times 18. Inches, 18 inches divided by 12. 300 feet. 300, damn. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Or no, 2,000 cubits. Ooh. Wait, did I get that? 18 times 2,000. Yeah, that's better. 3,000 feet. Okay, 3,000 feet. Either way. The math comes out right. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure, 3,000 feet. Come not near unto it, that you may know the way by which you must go, for you have not passed this way heretofore. And Joshua said unto the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. Look at that right there. Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And the Lord said unto Joshua, this day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. And thou shalt command the priests that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, when you are come to the brink of the water of Jordan, you shall stand still in Jordan. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, come hither, and hear the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, hereby you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord, all the earth. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passeth over before you into Jordan. Now therefore take you 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, and out of every tribe a man, and it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priest that bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon a heap. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over the Jordan, and the priest bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, And as they that bear the ark were come into Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very high, or very far from the city Adam. Okay. And as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped into the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zeratan, and those that came down towards the sea of the plain, even the salt sea failed. Even the salt sea failed, and were cut off. And the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of the Jordan. So this is the second time, or technically the third time. It's the third time that the waters parted. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of the Jordan, and all the Israelites passed on over on dry ground until all the people were passed clean over Jordan. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over Jordan, that the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe a man, and command you them, saying, Take you hence out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones. And you shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the lodging place where you shall lodge this night. Then Joshua called the 12 men, whom he had prepared of the children of Israel, out of every tribe a man. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of Jordan, and take ye upon every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according unto the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean ye by these stones? I really like this. I really do. I'm going to tie this up real quick, because this is just is what it is. Nope. There we go. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. I love it. And to answer this guy, he says, I spent all day at a massive Christian bookstore at the University Seminary, from every book on early church history, all Bible translations, blah, 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 blah. He said, your beliefs were never taught. Well, he spent all day in all these other books. He should have spent all day in the Bible, because that's where my beliefs are taught, is in the Bible. I only go by the Bible, dude. The Bible says what it says. You just don't line up with it, and that's your problem, not mine. Sorry. The Bible says whoever sins is of the devil. I'm going to go by what the Bible says. That's your problem, is you're looking everywhere else instead of looking in the Bible. All right, so that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in the time to come, saying, What mean by you these stones? Then you shall answer them, that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did so as Joshua commanded, and took up the 12 stones out of the midst of Jordan, as the Lord spake unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them unto the place where they lodged, and laid them down there. And Joshua set up the 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priest which bear the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there unto this day. Those stones are still there somewhere. For the priest which bare the ark stood in the midst of Jordan, until everything was finished that the Lord commanded Joshua to speak unto the people, according to all that Moses commanded Joshua, and the people hasted and passed over. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priest in the presence of the people, and the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh passed over, armed before the children of Israel, as Moses spake unto them. That was the deal they had. Reuben, Manasseh, and the half tribe, or Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh would go in front and initiate the war. Boom. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh passed over, armed before children of Israel. And Moses spake unto them, as Moses spake unto them, about 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord unto battle to the plains of Jericho. On that day the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moses all the days of his life. And the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Command the priests that bear the ark of the testimony, that they come up out of the Jordan. Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, Come ye up out of Jordan. And it came to pass, when the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord were come up out of the midst of Jordan, and the soles of the priests' feet were lifted up unto the dry land, that the waters of Jordan returned unto their place, and flowed over all his banks as they did before. And the people came up out of Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and encamped in Gilgal, in the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of Jordan did Joshua pitch in Gilgal. And he spake unto the children of Israel, saying, When your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean these stones? Then you shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of Jordan from before you until you were passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea when he dried up, which he dried up from before us until we were gone over, that all the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord that is mighty, that you might fear the Lord your God forever. Fear God. Absolutely fear God. Fear his word. His word does not lie. Jesus said, Whoever sins is a servant of sin. Jesus meant it. Fear God. Or die a sinner and go to hell and find out. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, that their heart melted. Neither was their spirit in them any more, because of the children of Israel. Everybody's just, they knew they were fucked. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on this side of the Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel until we were passed over, that their heart melted, neither was their spirit in them any more, because of the children of Israel. At that time the Lord said unto Joshua, Make thee sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time. And Joshua made him sharp knives, and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of foreskins. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise. All the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war, died in the wilderness by the way after they came out of Egypt. Now, pay attention to that. It is very important to understand. Right? He said, and this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise. I'm going to show you. There's a couple verses that go with this. Because everybody that was there, right? Everybody that sinned died in the wilderness. They don't ever want to talk about that part, though. The Jews never want to talk about that, right? That God killed all of them that still sinned in the wilderness. All of them. And you see that here, and you also see it in the New Testament. Was it not with, no, not with them that it sinned. Hebrews 3:17. Hebrews 3, verse 17. So right here. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses, but with whom was he grieved for 40 years? Was it not with them that had what? Sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness, right? Everybody that sinned died in the wilderness. They did not inherit the land. The sinners did not get shit. Moreover, your little ones, Deuteronomy chapter 139, this is where Well, actually, I mean, we could really start a little bit earlier. Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 34 through 39 says, And the Lord heard the voice of the words, and he was wroth, and sware, saying, Surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land which I swear unto your fathers. Period. He didn't give it to the sinners. Save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, he shall see it, and unto him will I give the land that he treadeth upon, and to his children, because he hath wholly followed the Lord. So Caleb was a real believer. Also the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, saying, Thou also shalt not go in thither. But Joshua the son of Nun, which standeth before thee, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. And then he tells him, Moreover, your little ones, which you said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day, so in that day, it had nothing to do with what they were going to become. It was just in that day, moreover, your little ones, which you said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn you and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. So the Israelis that sinned, the Hebrews that sinned, they were not granted access to the promised land, period. And they never will be. They never were. They just didn't get shit. And you see here that this was the problem. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses. But with whom was he grieved 40 years? Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness? They sinned, they died, they did not inherit the land. Therefore Joshua had to circumcise everybody that was perfect, that was going to inherit it. Second circumcision. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise. All the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war, died in the wilderness by the way after they came out of Egypt, because they chose sin. It doesn't work that way. Now all the people that came out were circumcised. But all the people that were born in the wilderness, by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord. So in Joshua, it's just confirming what I just told you with Deuteronomy and Hebrews. It was because they sinned, they did not go in. This is it's like the second generation down, the children that were going to inherit the land. So all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord, unto whom the Lord sware that he would not show them the land, which the Lord sware unto their fathers, that he would give us a land that floweth with milk and honey. God did not give it to the sinners. Period. He gave it to the ones that had no knowledge of good and evil, the ones who couldn't sin, because they had no knowledge of good and evil. And that's why Jesus says you have to be converted and become as a little child, because a child has no knowledge, right here, no knowledge between good and evil. A really little one. Everybody's born with the law in their heart, but it doesn't, for little itty bitty ones, they don't understand that. They don't understand it. They're not old enough to register it, so they have no knowledge between good and evil. Right there. Oh, wow, that's a really long verse. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord. So if you don't obey, there it is. There's the fucking gospel right here. If you don't obey, you will be consumed. If you still sin, you're not saved. It's that simple. If you still sin, you're never going to see the promise. If you still sin, you're not a part of the promise. If you still sin, you're not inheriting shit. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord, unto whom the Lord sware that he would not show them the land, which the Lord sware unto their fathers, that he would give us a land that floweth with milk and honey. And the children whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not circumcised them by the way. So that's it. The children and their children, whom he raised up in their stead, which you see here in Deuteronomy 139. Moreover, your little ones, which you said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it. It's the people with no knowledge of good and evil that are going to inherit everything. Those are your judges. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And their children, whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their places in the camp till they were whole. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off you. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes, and parched corn in the selfsame day. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship, and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, Loose thy shoe from off thy foot, from the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. Ooh, the captain of the Lord's host. Who do you think that is? Now Jericho, Joshua chapter 6, now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. They're just like, nope, not talking to you guys. That's good shit. I just think of, like, you know, sinners when a Jehovah's Witness goes to their door, they just fucking oh, it's funny. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And you shall compass the city, all you men of war. And you shall compass the city, all you men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. Oh, I don't care. Yeah, I'm not in this for numbers, man. I'm in this for the people that actually want to read and learn the Bible. And you shall compass the city, all you men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And you shall compass the city, all you men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day you shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests, and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. So 7 priests with ram's horns as trumpets. That would be so cool to see. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said unto the people, Pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew the trumpets, and the reward came after the ark. the priest going on and blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, You shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice. Neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you shout. Then shall you shout. So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priest took up the ark of the Lord. And 7 priests, bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns, before the ark of the Lord went on continually, and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them, but the reward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing with trumpets. And the second day they compassed the city once, and returned to the camp. So they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priest blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live. The whore. The prostitute. See how that works? The prostitute's the one that got saved. Not the rich guys. Not the priests of Jericho. Not the wise men. Not the people who, thought they were great people. No, the whore, the prostitute. She was saved because she believed. And the city shall be accursed, even it, and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house. But again, they had to be with her, so they would have had to have believed her, right? So they would have had to believe the same thing that Rahab believed. I mean, if you were Rahab's family, and I'm sure by then they were all like, holy shit, these guys have gone around the wall 6 times. I'm sure the family by then was real quick to believe her and go in the house. But imagine that first day before Israel even showed up, when Rahab went and told her mom and her dad and everybody, and she's like, you guys got to be in my house on this day, da-da-da-da-da-da. They were probably like, yeah, right, you're just nuts. Oh, don't listen to the whore. She's a prostitute. Don't listen to shit she says. Bet you on that 6th day they were all there, though. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And you, in any wise, keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make yourselves accursed, when you take of the accursed thing and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it. So this is neat. I like this because this also goes with this verse. Second Corinthians 6:17. And it still stands today. I mean, this isn't changing for anybody. 6:17. Wherefore come out from among them, and be you separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. There it is. Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Now we know, if you know the Bible, then you know Romans 14:14. He says, now we know, and I am persuaded by the Lord Jesus, that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to any man that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. So there's nothing unclean. We know that. A believer knows that. We know that unto the pure all things are pure. Believers know that, but sinners don't. So a sinner reads this, and they know it says, touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, but then they still touch the unclean. They still serve sin. He's not going to receive them. And they've convinced themselves, 99% of them have convinced themselves that they're going to be okay. It's fucking sad. It's really sad. But I like it. 2 Corinthians 6:17 to Joshua 6:18. Oh, look, they're so close too on the verse numbers. And you in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make yourselves accursed. When you take the accursed thing and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord. So the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpets, and it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox, and sheep and ass with the edge of the sword. They killed everything that moved. But Joshua had said unto the two men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman and all that she hath, and you swear unto her, as you swore unto her. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had, and they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire, and all that was therein. Only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and iron they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Joshua adjourned them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was noised throughout all the country. Joshua chapter 7, verse 1. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. Of course, right? That's what they do. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethaven, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua, and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai, and make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote of them 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. Because they fucked up. They weren't even in there like a week. And Joshua rent his clothes, and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of the Lord, even until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. And Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us? Would to God we had been content, and dwelt on the other side of Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say, when Israel turneth their backs before their enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall environ around them. For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall environ us round, and cut off our name from the earth. And what wilt thou do unto thy great name? And the Lord said unto Joshua, Get thee up, wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? God said, Get up, why are you lying on your face? Israel hath what? What's it say right there? What's the problem here? Israel sinned. And they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them. That's the problem. Right there. That's the problem. Israel has sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them, for they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen, and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. It's the same thing. It's right there. Boom. Sin, you're cursed. If you sin, you're cursed. That's it. If you continue living in sin, if you keep sinning, then you stay cursed. But turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you any more, except you destroy the accursed from among you. Up, sanctify the people, and say, Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, There is an accursed thing in the midst of thee. O Israel, thou canst not stand before thine enemies until you take away the accursed thing from among you. In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought according to your tribes. And it shall be that the tribe which the Lord taketh shall come according to the families thereof, And the family which the Lord shall take shall come by households, and the household which the Lord shall take shall come by man. And it shall be that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he hath, because he hath transgressed the covenant of the Lord, and because he hath wrought folly in Israel. So what did they do with this guy? The one that sinned? Set him on fire. Set him on fire. Because if you sin, you're of the devil. If you sin, you're not of Israel. If you sin, you're not of God. What did they do with this guy? They set his ass on fire. So Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zerites. And he brought the family of the Zerites man by man, and Zabdi was taken. And he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And Joshua said unto Achan, My son, give, I pray thee, glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them, and I took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran unto the tent. They ran unto the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Joshua, and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And they brought them unto the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned him with fire, after they had stoned him with the stones. And you guys still think you can still sin and be saved? It's a fucking joke. No. Absolutely not. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger. Wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. Ooh, you know what? I'm curious. Okay, that shares the whole window. Google.com. Just curious. No, it doesn't. Where is? I would imagine they'd find it by now. The north of the city of Jericho is the Valley of Achor. It received its name in ancient times. Yep. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. So somewhere there'd be a pile of rocks with Achor's ass under it. Oh, it's just going to take me back to here. I didn't want that. Jericho. No, I wanted like an actual map. Let me see. Okay, so now, in real time, let's see where that is. Sorry, I enjoy doing this because for me it's, I don't know. I just like knowing what I'm looking at. So right in... So it's right in here. So somewhere right in there. I don't know if you guys can see the mouse. Here's Jericho. I'm going to be right up here. Right in there somewhere. Neat. Pretty neat stuff. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. Joshua chapter 8. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee, and arise, go up to Ai. See, I have given into thy hand the king of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. And thou shalt do to Ai and her king as thou didst unto Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall you take for a prey unto yourselves. Lay thee in ambush for the city behind it. So Joshua arose, and all the people of war, to go up against Ai. And Joshua chose out 30,000 mighty men of valor, and sent them away by night. And he commanded them, saying, Behold, you shall lie in wait against the city, even behind the city. Go not very far from the city, but be you all ready. And commanded them, saying, Behold, you shall lie in wait against the city, behind the city. Go not very far from the city, but be you all ready. And I and all the people that are with me will approach unto the city, and it shall come to pass that when they come out against us, as at the first, that we will flee before them, for they will come out after us till we have drawn them from the city. For they will say, They flee before us, as at the first, therefore we will flee before them. Then you shall rise up from your ambush, and seize upon the city, for the Lord your God will deliver it into your hand. And it shall be, when you have taken the city, that you shall set the city on fire, according to the commandment of the Lord you shall do. See, I have commanded you. Joshua therefore sent them forth, and they went to lie in ambush and abode between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of Ai. But Joshua lodged that night among the people. So he sent 30,000 people behind the city, all sneaky-like, because he knew that they would chase them out like they did after they had fucked up. And they got, 36 of them got murked. And so they'll chase them out, and then the guys in the back would take the city, set it on fire. The guys that Joshua was with would see the fire and know that, and then they could all just sandwich them in, and they were done. The art of war, it's a beautiful thing. Joshua therefore sent them forth, and they went to lie in ambush and abode between Bethel and Ai on the west side of Ai. But Joshua lodged that night among the people. And Joshua rose up early in the morning, and numbered the people, and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people of Ai to Ai. And all the people, even the people of war that were with him, went up and drew near, and came before the city, and pitched on the north side of Ai. Now there was a valley between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men, and set them to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of the city. And when they had set the people, even all the host that was on the north of the city, and all their liers in wait on the west of the city, Joshua went that night into the midst of the valley. And it came to pass, when the king of Ai saw it, that they hasted and rose up early, and the men of the city went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people, at a time appointed, before the plain. But he wist not that there were liers in ambush against him behind the city. The king did not. You never would have guessed it. And Joshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and fled away of the wilderness. And all the people that were in Ai were called together to pursue after them. And they pursued after Joshua, and were drawn away from the city. And there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel that went not out after Israel. And they left the city open, and pursued after Israel. They let down their guard. It's a move you use in boxing. Like, it works for everything. Works good. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Stretch out the spear that is in thy hand towards Ai, for I will give it into thine hand. And Joshua stretched out his spear that he had in his hand towards the city, and the ambush arose quickly out of their place, and they ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand. And they entered into the city, and took it, and hasted and set the city on fire. And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended up to heaven, and they had no power to flee this way or that way. And the people that fled to the wilderness turned back upon the pursuers. And when Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and that the smoke of the city ascended, Then they turned again and slew the men of Ai. And the other issued out of the city against them. So they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side, some on that side, and they smote them so that they let none of them remain or escape. And the king of Ai they took alive and brought him to Joshua. And it came to pass, when Israel had made the end of the slaying of all the inhabitants of the Ai in the field, in the wilderness, wherein they chased them, and when they were all fallen by the edge of the sword until they were consumed, that all the Israelites returned unto Ai and smote it with the edge of the sword. And so it was that all that fell that day, both of men and women, were 12,000, even all the men of Ai. For Joshua drew not his hand back, wherewith he stretched out the spear, until he had utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. Only the cattle and the spoil of that city Israel took for a prey unto themselves, according to the word of the Lord which he had commanded Joshua. And Joshua burnt Ai, and made it a heap forever, even a desolation unto this day. And the king of Ai he hanged on a tree until eventide. And as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his carcass down from the tree, and cast it at the entering of the gate of the city, and raise thereon a great heap of stones that remaineth unto this day. Brutal, man. Fucking brutal. Then Joshua built an altar unto the Lord God of Israel in Mount Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of whole stones, over which no man, you guys remember we did this, I know Brunette does, I know she was there when we went through this, like it's in Leviticus, where he goes over the how to build the proper altar, and he's re-quoting that here. As Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of whole stones, over which no man hath lifted up any iron, and they offered thereon burnt offerings unto the Lord, and sacrificed peace offerings. And it was no tool was ever to touch any of the stones. They were supposed to be whole stones, not worked, not tooled, not anything. And that's what they did. And he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side of the ark and on that side before the priests of the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, as well the stranger. And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side of the ark and on that side before the priests of the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, as well the stranger as he that was born among them. And now look at you, and you go back when we did Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. When we did those, you see God always counts the strangers with them. He always counts the strangers as if they were born a Jew. Right here. As well the stranger as he that was born among them. The stranger as he that was born among them. He counts the strangers. Half of them over against the Mount Gerizim, and half of them over against Mount Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded before, that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward he read all the words of the law, the blessings and cursings, according to all that was written in the book of the law. There was not a word of all that Moses commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversant among them. He included everybody. Beautiful. Joshua chapter 9. And that's legitimately what Joshua was doing with them is what I'm sitting here doing with you. It's fucking beautiful. And it came to pass when all the kings which were on this side Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys, and in the coast of the great sea, over against Lebanon, the Hittite and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite, heard thereof, that they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. So all these guys, they finally banded together. They're like, they knew. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work willily. They did work willily and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses and wine bottles, old and rent and bound up, and old shoes and clouded upon their feet, and old garments upon them, and all the bread their provision was dry and moldy. Yeah, I'm going to redo this. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work willily. All right, I want to see what this is, y'all. Definition of willily. Yeah, whatever. Skilled at gaining an advantage, especially deceitfully. Okay, deceitfully. That makes sense. They did work deceitfully. Yeah. They did work willily and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses, and wine bottles old and rent and bound up, and old shoes and clouded upon their feet, and old garments upon them, and all the bread of their provision was dry and moldy. And they went to Joshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and said unto him and to the men of Israel, We be come from a far country, now therefore make ye a league with us. And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, Peradventure you dwell among us, and how shall we make a league with you? And they said unto Joshua, We are thy servants. And Joshua said unto them, Who are you? And from whence come you? Where do you come from? Who are you, and where did you come from? And they said unto him, From a very far country, thy servants are come because of the name of the Lord thy God, for we have heard the fame of him and all that he did in Egypt. Excuse me, I got hiccups. Ooh. They're iced coffee hiccups. They're worst. Ew. Ooh. And they said unto him, From a very far country thy servants are come because of the name of the Lord thy God, for we have heard the fame of him and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, and to Og king of Bashan, which was at Ashtaroth. Wherefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, Take victuals with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say to them, We are your servants, therefore now make ye a league with us. This is our bread we took hot for our provision out of the houses on the day we came forth to go unto you, but now behold it is dry and it is moldy. Ooh, that was slick. And these bottles of wine which we filled were new, and behold, they be rent. And these our garments and our shoes become old by reason of the very long journey. And the men took of their victuals, and asked not counsel at the mouth of the Lord. And Joshua made peace with them. Ooh, see, notice how he throws that in there. They didn't ask counsel of God on this one. And the men took of their victuals, and asked not counsel at the mouth of the Lord. And Joshua made peace with them, and made a league with them to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swear unto them. And it came to pass at the end of 3 days, after they had made a league with them, that they heard that they were their neighbors, and they dwelt among them. And the children of Israel journeyed, and came unto their cities in the 3rd day. Now their cities were Gibeon, and Shephirah, and Berioth, and Kirjath Jearim. And the children of Israel smote them not, because the princes of the congregation had sworn unto them by the Lord God of Israel. See, I like this. Even in the Old Testament, like, going way back, and even if they got duped, right? Like, Israel just got duped, and they still kept their word. Like, they still kept their word back when, whatever. Just mean what you say what you mean, right? And the children of Israel smote them not, because the princes of the congregation had sworn unto them by the Lord God of Israel. And all their congregation murmured against the princes. But all the princes said unto all the congregation, We have sworn unto them by the Lord God of Israel. Now therefore we may not touch them. This will we do to them. We will even let them live, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swear unto them. And the princes said unto them, Let them live, but let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water unto all the congregation, as the princes had promised them. And Joshua called for them, and he spake unto them, saying, Wherefore have you beguiled us? Like, why did you deceive us, saying, We are very far from you, when you dwell among us? Now therefore you are cursed, and there shall none of you be freed from being bondmen, and hoers of wood and drawers of water for the house of my God. And they answered Joshua and said, Because it was certainly told thy servants how that the Lord thy God commanded his servant Moses to give you all the land, and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you, Therefore we were sore afraid of our lives because of you, and have done this thing. And now, behold, we are in thine hand, as it seemeth good and right unto thee to do unto us, do. And so he did unto them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, that they slew them not. And Joshua made them that day hewers of wood, and drawers of water for the congregation, and for the altar of the Lord, even unto this day, in the place which he should choose. So they were smart. Those guys were smart, right? They were smart. They're like, we're either going to end up dead, or we can do it this way, and they did it that way, and it worked out for them. They outsmarted the children of Israel. It's good shit. Joshua 10. Now it came to pass when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and her king, so he had done to Ai and her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty. Wherefore Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoham, king of Hebron, and unto Piram, king of Jarmuth, and unto Japhiah, king of Lachish, and unto Debir, king of Eglon, saying, Come up unto me, and help me, that we may smite Gibeon, for it hath made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, and the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered themselves together and went up, they and all their host, and encamped before Gibeon, and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon said unto Joshua to the camp of Gilgal, saying, Slack not thy hand from thy servants, come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee. Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Lord discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Therein, and smote them to Azekah and to Makkedah. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Therein, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. God killed more of them than the children of Israel did. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou, moon, in the valley of Ajalon. Now, I love this, right? I love this because this is one of those things that proves that this is legit. This is one of those things. This right here, and most people don't know it, okay? Your time, right? The time, the calendar that we're on, right? You've got the leap year. Every year you have a leap year, right? February 29th is the leap year. You don't have a February 29th except every 2 years, right? February, I'm looking at the calendar for this year, was 28th. Okay. So every 4 years you get a leap year, and then you'll have a February 29th. They just add an extra day in February. So we have that leap year. And the reason it is every 4 years, because every year you're missing a quarter of a day. So, and that is where your spring forward, fall back, your what is it, daylight savings time? Daylight savings time makes up for that quarter, right? You got that couple hours, you're missing a quarter of a day. So every 4 years, they have to have that extra day on the calendar because of what Joshua did right here. Leap year in itself actually proves that the Bible's legit. That's it. Like, you can't get around that. There's an extra day. Nobody knows where the fuck it came from. That's where it came from. Right there. When Joshua made the sun stand still. Well, he asked God, and God did it, but this is the record of that. And that's why you have a leap year. I don't know if any of you knew that, but now you do. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up to Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, The sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. A whole day. And that's where leap year comes from. That's why we have to have the clocks go back and go forward. That's why there's an extra day every 4 years, is because Joshua did that right there. So cool, man. It's in everything. It's in everything we do. God's in all things. They just don't know. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it. So you know, there's no other explanation for leap year. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp to Gilgal. But these 5 kings fled, and hid themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was told Joshua, saying, the 5 kings are found hid in a cave at Makkedah. And Joshua said, roll great stones upon the mouth of the cave, and set men by it for to keep them. And stay ye not, but pursue after your enemies, and smite the hindmost of them. Suffer them not to enter into their cities, for the Lord your God hath delivered them into your hand. And it came to pass, when Joshua and the children of Israel had made an end of slaying them with a very great slaughter, till they were consumed, that the rest which remained of them entered into the fenced cities. And all the people returned to the camp to Joshua at Makkedah, in peace. None moved his tongue against any of the children of Israel. Then said Joshua, open the mouth of the cave, and bring out those 5 kings unto me out of the cave. And they did so, and brought forth those 5 kings unto him out of the cave. The king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. And it came to pass, when they brought out those kings unto Joshua, that Joshua called for all the men of Israel, and said unto the captains of the men of war which went with him, come near, put your feet upon the necks of these kings. And they came near, and put their feet upon the necks of them. And Joshua said unto them, fear not, nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage. For thus shall the Lord do to all your enemies against whom you fight. True statement, man. True fucking statement. The only key there is you have to be perfect. You have to be perfect. If you have sin, he will fucking just doesn't end well. And Joshua said unto them, fear not, nor be dismayed, be strong and of good courage, for thus shall the Lord do to all your enemies against whom you fight. And afterward Joshua smote them, and slew them, and hanged them on 5 trees. And they were hanging upon the trees until the evening. And it came to pass at the time of the going down of the sun that Joshua commanded, and they took down off the trees, and cast them into the cave wherein they had been hid, and laid great stones in the cave's mouth, which remain unto this very day. Still there somewhere. And that day, Joshua took Makkedah, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof he utterly destroyed, them and all the souls that were therein. He let none remain, and he did to the king of Makkedah as he did to the king of Jericho. Women, children, men, gone, all of them, done. Then Joshua passed from Makkedah, and all Israel with him, unto Libnah, and fought against Libnah. And the Lord delivered it also, and the king thereof, into the hand of Israel. And he smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein. He let none remain in it, but did unto the king thereof as he did unto the king of Jericho. And Joshua passed from Libnah, and all Israel with him, unto Lachish, and encamped against it, and fought against it. And the Lord delivered Lachish into the hand of Israel, which took it on the 2nd day, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Haram, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua smote him and his people until he had left him none remaining. None. And from Lachish Joshua passed unto Eglon, and all Israel with him. And they encamped against it, and fought against it. And they took it on that day, and smote it with the edge of the sword. And all the souls that were therein he utterly destroyed that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. And Joshua went up from Eglon, and all Israel with him, unto Hebron, and they fought against it. And he took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining, according to all that he had done to Eglon, but destroyed it utterly, and all the souls that were therein. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to Debir, and fought against it. And he took it, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and they smote them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining, as he had done to Hebron, so he did to Debir, and to the king thereof, as he had done also to Libnah, and to her king, as they had done to Lachish, and to Jericho, and all of them. So Joshua smote all the country of the hills, and of the south, and of the vale, and of the springs, and of all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Lord God of Israel commanded. All that breathed. No more breath. Bye-bye. And Joshua smote them from Kadesh Barnea, even unto Gaza, and all the country of Goshen, even unto Gibeon. And all these kings and their land did Joshua take at one time, because the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp to Gilgal. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But what happened when they found one that sinned? When the guy in Jericho, he thought he saw a nice garment that he wanted to keep. What happened? God didn't help them. He let them get killed. And what happened to that dude that sinned? They set his ass on fire. Hardcore. Joshua 11. And it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard those things, that he sent to Jorab, king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, to the king of Achshaph, and to the kings that were on the north of the mountains, in the plains south of Chinneroth, and in the valley, and in the borders of Dor to the west, and to the Canaanite on the east and on the west, and to the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Jebusite, in the mountains, and to the Hivite under Hermon, in the land of Mizpah. And they went out, they and all their hosts with them, much people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore in the multitude, with horses and chariots very many. And when all these kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Be not afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time will I deliver them up, all slain before Israel. Thou shalt hoe their horses, and burn their chariots with fire. So Joshua came, and all the people of war with him, against them by the waters of Merom, suddenly, and they fell upon them. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who smote them, and chased them unto great Zidon, and unto Miresh. I want to make sure I say this. Misrephoth Maim. That's right, yeah. And the Lord delivered unto them to the hand of Israel, who smote them, and chased them unto great Zidon, and unto Misrephoth Maim, and unto the valley of Mizpah, eastward, and they smote them until they left them none remaining. And Joshua did unto them as the Lord bade him. He hoed their horses, and burnt their chariots with fire. And Joshua at that time turned back, and took Hazor, and smote the king thereof with the sword. For Hazor beforetime was the head of all those kingdoms. And they smote all the souls that were therein with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe, and he burnt Hazor with fire. And all the cities of those kings, and all the kings of them, did Joshua take, and smote them with the edge of the sword. And he utterly destroyed them, as Moses the servant of the Lord commanded. But as for the cities that stood still in their strength, Israel burned none of them, save Hazor only. That did Joshua burn. And all the spoil of these cities, and the cattle, and the children of Israel took for a prey unto themselves. But every man they smote with the edge of the sword, until they had destroyed them. Neither left they any to breathe. As the Lord commanded Moses his servant, so did Moses command Joshua, and so did Joshua. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord commanded Moses. So Joshua took all the land, the hills, and all the south country, and all the land of Goshen, and the valley, and the plain, and the mountain of Israel, and the valley of the same, even from Mount Halak that goeth up to Seir, even unto Baal-gad in the valley of Lebanon under Mount Hermon, and all their kings he took, and smote them, and slew them. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, save the Hivites and the inhabitants of Gibeon. Remember, they were slick. All other they took in battle. For it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might destroy them utterly, and that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them as the Lord commanded Moses. That's the same thing today. Every single sinner that chooses sin, God's the one that hardened their hearts. It's the same thing. He's in control of it all. And at that time came Joshua and cut off the Anakims from the mountains. The Anakims. That's where that tribe of Anak, the Anunnaki, whatever, the giants. There you go. And at that time came Joshua and cut off the Anakims from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the mountain of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua destroyed them utterly with their cities. There was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Gaza. In Gath and in Ashdod there remained. In Gath, and if you remember Goliath, that's where he's from. There was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained. So Joshua took the whole land according to all the Lord said unto Moses. And Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel according to their divisions by their tribes, and the land rested from war. I like how he says the land rested. Joshua 12. Now these are the kings of the land which the children of Israel smote, and possessed their land on the other side Jordan towards the rising of the sun, from the river Arnon unto the Mount Hermon, and all the plain on the east. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon and ruled from Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon, and from the plain to the sea of the Chinneroth, and from the plain to the sea of Chinneroth, on the east, and unto the east, and unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea on the east, the way to Beth Jeshemoth, and from the south under Ashdoth Pegah, and the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was the remnant of the giants, which dwelt at Ashtaroth and at Edrei, and reigned in Mount Hermon, and in Selka, and in Bashan, unto the border of the Geshurites, and the Maachathites, and half Gilead, the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Them did Moses the servant of the Lord, and the children of Israel smite, and Moses the servant of the Lord gave it for a possession unto the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. This is the east side of the Jordan. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel smote on this side Jordan on the west, from Baal-gad in the valley of Lebanon, even unto the Mount Halak, that goeth up to Seir, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for a possession according to their divisions, in the mountains and in the valleys and in the plains and in the springs and in the wilderness and in the south country, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, the king of Jericho, 1, the king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1, the king of Jerusalem, 1, the king of Hebron, 1, the king of Jarmuth, 1, the king of Lachish, 1, the king of Eglon, 1, the king of Gezer, 1, the king of Debir, 1, the king of Gelder, 1, the king of Hormah, 1, the king of Arad, 1, the king of Libnah, 1, the king of Adullam, 1, the king of Makkedah, 1, the king of Bethel, 1, the king of Tappuah, 1, the king of Hefer, 1, the king of Aphek, 1, the king of Leshron, 1, the king of Medan, 1, the king of Hazor, 1, the king of Shimron Meron, 1, the king of Ashaph, 1, the king of Tanakh, 1, The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokiam of Carmel, 1. The king of Dor in the coast of Dor, 1. The king of the nations of Gilgal, 1. The king of Tisra, 1. All the kings, 30-1. They wiped out 30. All of them. All of them. 31. All of them. All of them. They left none to breathe. Except for of the Hivites and Gibeon. It's good. Good. And I'm going to wrap that up for Joshua for today because there's 12 chapters left, so it'll be a two-part series. But I mean, it's serious. Like it's dead ass serious. I mean, they were getting ready to take over everything, and just one dude sinned. And what did God do? He turned his back on him. That's it. You cannot sin and know God. Joshua says so. Joshua says you have to do all the law. If you're going to say you believe in God, then you have to keep that law perfectly. Perfect. And there's only one way that works. There's only one way that works. If you still break the law, you are not of God. If you still break the law, you are blotted out of his book. Joshua says so. It is great stuff. I think so. I don't care what anybody else has to say. I really don't. This is what it is, man. I get up here and I'll read with you, show you what it is. You know, it's all there. It's been there since the beginning. The perfection has been since the beginning. Abraham was perfect. That's the covenant. That's the covenant that God made with Abraham, was to be perfect. It's very simple, very easy. And you either take the time and figure it out and accept the truth, or you sin till you die. It's one or the other. You can't. Just is what it is. Aggravating is what that is. But at the end of the day, I really like the story of Joshua. There's a lot in there. Especially the that is definitely where the leap year comes from. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be back. I don't know. Maybe I'll pop in later tonight. I don't know. We'll probably do Joshua. What day is today? Monday. So we'll probably do Joshua Wednesday or Thursday. I'll get it figured out, and it'll be up here. You guys will know when. Other than that, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. Read your Bibles, preach the gospel, the real one. Be a faithful witness. Don't talk about things you don't know. Don't pretend like you have the answers if you still sin, because you don't. If you still sin, figure it out. If you still sin, you're of the devil. Jesus made a way for you to be perfect. Find it. Enjoy your evening, guys. Oh, and I salute the brethren, the ones that actually do the work.